Brother Nerd here, and today we're going to be taking a look at... It's so huge, it just takes up the whole frame. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Studio Series concept art Megatron. I'm very surprised that this box is taking up the whole frame. So this is actually my second Leader Class Transformer figure ever. My first Leader Class Transformer figure that I own is actually the Leader Class Optimus Prime from the first Transformers movie back when it first came out, even though that I was basically 2 years old. My dad actually got it for me as a gift, even though that I don't remember him giving it to me, but it's in my collection now, and I'm not transforming him for this video, because I'm pretty sure everybody in the comments is going to be like, you should totally compare the two. The transformation on that Optimus Prime is really stupid, so I have him in truck mode forever, and he's never coming out of that form ever again. Anyway, back to the actual box here. The reason many of you are probably wondering, why is it called concept art? This is actually how Megatron would have appeared if how he would look if he would have appeared in the movie Bumblebee. And the movie Bumblebee is a live-action G1 kind of reboot of the Michael Bay Transformer movies, where they're more, accurate to their G1 counterparts, just with a little bit of realism to them. And unfortunately, many of us were kind of bamboozled that Megatron did not make it a cameo in the movie Bumblebee. We were expecting him to kind of appear somewhere in the opening scene on Cybertron. By the way, that opening scene is amazing, probably my favorite part of the whole movie, honestly. The movie was fine. I did really enjoy it, but the opening scene is where the movie actually peaked, and unfortunately, we didn't get to see any of our favorite, G1 counterparts in live action. But unfortunately, Megatron did not appear in the movie due to either budgeting or time constraints. And the only thing that ever exists of Megatron is the 3D render of him, which you can see on the front of the box here. So what Takara and Hasbro have done, they have basically, kind of took the 3D model and actually brought it into a physical figure, which I think is a fantastic idea. I think that they should totally do more either concept art from the Michael Bay movies, or more concept art for characters that never actually got to appear in the movie Bumblebee, or even Rise of the Beasts even. So I'm really excited for them to do more of that. And I have more to gush about this figure, but let's take a look at the box here. So as you can clearly see, you've got the 3D render of Megatron there. On the side of the box, you've got a extreme close-up. Jesus Christ. I can smell your breath from here, buddy. So you can see a close-up of Megatron's face there. On the back of the box, you can see him in his robot mode. I'm just going to turn the camera up. You can see him in his robot mode, him in his tank mode, and in his jet mode as well. We'll get to these later. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it for the box. Oh, on the side of the box here, you can also see Megatron again. But if you go down here, you can also kind of see, like, the blueprint coming off there, which I think is a really nice touch. So I hope that they do more of that with the boxes as well. And also just want to mention that this guy does come with a backdrop, which is this kind of thing here, but I don't want to take it out and I don't want to take a look at it because it's just going to waste time and I don't want to look at cardboard anymore. So let's take a look at the actual figure. So here is Megatron, and wow, this is probably one of my favorite Transformer figures ever. You thought Inferno was my favorite? Inferno's got nothing on Megatron here. This guy has so much to offer. Everything about this figure is amazing, except for the alternate modes, but we'll get to that later. Just the amount of detail and how accurate he is to the 3D model, and also to his G1 counterpart. This is a perfect representation of Megatron, and I'm so disappointed that they never actually brought him back into the Rise of the Beast, because even then he didn't even appear in Rise of the Beast, and still Hasbro had to kind of trick us into seeing the movie because there was a figure leak of Megatron, and still no Megatron in live action. So I'm very disappointed. But take a look at the figure himself. The amount of detail on this guy is absolutely amazing. There's so much bells and whistles going around this guy. It's amazing. Coming under here as well, you can see that there's like even like kind of springs and pistons going all around the figure, especially in the chest area with these kind of silver bits coming out here as well. And then you can also kind of see what looks like to be exhausts of some kind, possibly for the tank mode. And then you can also kind of see some more like rivets and bolts and just everything about this. Just everything about this is just so amazing. Even his feet, I don't want to dwell on the feet too much because people are already kind of thinking that I'm a foot fetish guy because how much I spend time on figure feet. I don't. I just want to take a look at, okay, I'm not helping my case at any point here, but just taking a look at the feet, the detail on this is just amazing. Everything about this is fantastic. Flip around to the back. The back is so clean. Amazing. Barely any kibble on this guy. It's amazing. You can even see some more hose designs coming through the back here. Just more kind of, even the screws, even though the screw holes are visible, it just still looks like it's just part of the figure, and it doesn't bother me at all, and I love it. It's just everything about this. You can see the tank treads on the back of the feet, on the legs here, just amazing. And even where the knee actually bends, it actually looks like it's supposed to move instead of just having like a really disgusting hinge joint of where the leg would bend. It actually has detail on it to make it look like it's actually, like a real life, alien robot that can transform with actual joints that don't just seem out of place. Everything about this guy is amazing. Even the fusion cannon. The fusion cannon's amazing. I love the detail on here. The back of it is really, really nice. Not much detail going on in the front of the cannon. Everything detail-wise is kind of in the back here. I wish it was a little bit more kind of detailed, but for now, there's just kind of, indents and kind of grooves going throughout the fusion cannon. But the fusion cannon on the back here, just amazing. I love the amount of detail. Even got like some exhausts here for where like I'm guessing like the blast smoke will come out of. Just everything about this is amazing. You can even see like a little sight there as well, so he can like kind of aim his fusion cannon. The face, the head sculpt on this is amazing. I love the kind of like the kind of very broad Sigma looking chin there. Just amazing. Everything about this, he's got even the bucket head as well. The tiny little red eyes as well, even have some little actual kind of detail into them as well. They're not just kind of bland paint on there. There's actual detail on his eyes to make it more realistic, and I love that as well. Everything about this guy from the detail is just amazing. I just can't stop looking at this guy. This guy is just so awesome. What's even more awesome is the actual articulation on this guy. The articulation is absolutely fantastic, and I did not expect a modern Transformers figure at that to have such good articulation, because recently, especially with the court class figures, have really lackluster articulation, and coming from a big, expensive figure, this guy costs either from you're looking at like $70 to $80, and that's not even counting the eBay prices. This guy, of course, eBay always, when people buy stuff and they resell it for a price that shouldn't even be, a thing, where they're reselling it for like the amount of a house loan. Okay, like I don't know why they're doing that. It's like you're looking at like either $300 to $100 at this point on eBay, and so you're looking at just get this guy on Amazon or from a retailer. That's my point, but. Just the price, I was not expecting this guy to have much articulation. Actually, I kind of was expecting him to have some sort of decent articulation here. So let's take a look at that real quick. Backdrop behave for once. So take a look at the articulation. He's got a ball joint at the head. It's kind of limited. Honestly, it's a little bit stiff, but I think over time it will become loose. Not too loose. I don't think it's going to wobble anytime soon like a bobblehead. I think it's just going to become loose enough that I won't have to, kind of like, contort his head. But anyway, he's got a ball joint at the head. He can look up that far and down that far. Pretty good range of articulation at the head. He's got a butterfly joint at the shoulder here, so it can move forward and backwards. 360 rotation at the arms, can move in and out. He's got a bicep swivel as well. He's got a bend at the knee, at the elbow there. It's not really double bend. I wish it was double bend, but that's how far his elbow can bend. The fusion cannon itself is plugged in, so it can rotate 360 degrees, and you can also unplug it to give it some more, kind of dynamic stuff if you want to pose it like that, but that's more for the transformation, so you won't really need to use those hinge joints in the fusion cannon. I'll save the hands for last because those are my favorite parts of the figure. He's got a waist swivel. Very, very surprising. I was not expecting that from this figure, but he does have some waist swivel, so that's awesome. Side skirts can move out, so they can move for the legs. Also, the front kind of groin skirts here can also fold in so that he can actually kick. So he can kick that far and move back that far. And he's also got a thigh swivel, bend at the knee, a very, very good bend at the knee. Basically a double bend at this point. Very, very awesome. For the legs here, or for the feet, sorry, they can move, they can hinge up and down, and he's got a really great pivot, fantastic. And of course, he does have a really, really awesome spread, so you can get some really, really wide fusion cannon stances with that as well. Very, very awesome. Coming to the hands here, which are my favorite part. I was not expecting this on a modern Transformers figure. This is more like a masterpiece kind of stuff. So he's actually got articulation in the fingers, which there's actually hinge joints on them as well. So there's a hinge joint at the tip of his finger. There's also a second hinge joint at the kind of the knuckle area there. And working together, they can, you know, do some crazy stuff with that so that you can give it into a fist. The other three fingers are on a hinge joint, so they're not individually articulated, but they basically have the three exact same points of articulation, and they're just amazing. You can get some really, really great stuff out of that for posability and just, you know, dynamic poses and everything like that. Just amazing. Everything about this guy is fantastic, and I can't get enough of it. The amount of lack of kibble on the back, even like, you know, there is some, you know, kind of jet wing kibble here. They even managed to kind of like fill in it so it's not just hollow, so it actually looks like it's like an actual proper, you know, kind of figure without any hollow bits at all, which is amazing. What is not amazing, though, is the alternate modes. This guy's actually a triple changer Megatron, which sounds like the best idea ever. But the, you know, I had very high expectations from the price point of this guy because the price, it's very high. So I expected the other two modes to be really, really good. Unfortunately, they are very, very lackluster, and Hasbro kind of skipped out on these, honestly. They're not really the best, but they're not, you know, completely terrible. They're just not perfect, and they suffice for what you're getting, I guess, but I would have expected a lot more from the price point that you're getting this figure at. And the transformations are a little bit complicated, so I am gonna have to cut this part. Usually I would just transform this all in one cut, but since this guy is, you know, very, very not complicated and not really painful, but just a little bit excessive, that I'm going to have to look up an actual tutorial because the instructions, they do not do the transformation justice. The instructions are terrible. Don't follow the instructions. I usually follow video tutorials on this, honestly, because just trying to figure out the steps on pieces of paper is not the greatest thing, and you'll end up breaking something or just mistransforming this guy. So I am going to have to cut this part, and then when we come back, I'm going to transform it into tank mode. So I'll see you guys in a bit. So to transform him into his tank mode, what you want to do is that you want to rotate the head around, and then coming to the hands here. So underneath his forearm here, there is a hinge joint of the underside here, and you want to fold in the hands like so, close that up, and then do the exact same thing on the other side. And just be aware that getting these hands out of these sockets here are going to be an absolute pain when trying to transform him back into his robot mode. Just want to let you know that because I've had many difficulties trying to get these out. Then what you want to do is that you want to use this. I forgot that he mentioned he also has like kind of a forearm swivel here, so forgot to mention that in the articulation section, but here it is. So what you want to do is that you want to rotate it like that. Do the exact same thing on the other side. Then for the fusion cannon, what you want to do is that you want to unhinge with the hinge joint and then collapse that down. Coming back to the back here, these tank treads here, you want to pop them out like so. This one is a little bit tricky to get out, so you're going to have to kind of yank it out and then until you hear that click. And then what you want to do is that you want to, I'm kind of going off of literally what I remember, honestly, so this might be a little bit stuff. So what you want to do is that you want to take the wings here, fold that like so, and then kind of fold these down like so. Then use that, and then use that as well. Then you're going to have to collapse and kind of bend these stuff down like so. It's a little bit weird to do. And then kind of want to flip in the feet here. And then this is going to be really, really stupid. You want to take this entire piece here and you want to fold it on top of here until the peg of the tread locks into the base of his foot there. It's a little bit stupid to do, but with enough force like that, then you can do that as well. And then watch the tread collapse and then watch everything detach. Then do the exact same thing on the other side. Kind of detach that. Okay, there we go. This is a little bit stupid to do. Kind of fold in the foot. And that. Nope. Don't. It's a little bit tricky to do, but once you get the hang of it, everything will work out fine in the end. Come on. There we go. Lock that in. God damn it. And don't put the tread back in. There we go. Then you want to take the side skirts and then flip these out here. And then you want to fold in the wings. And then you're going to want to fold these bits in here, like so. Then what you want to do is that you want to kind of rotate the feet here, like so. And then you also want to detach these things. The hips detach. Oh, God. It's a little bit tight to do, but with enough force, don't be afraid to yank as hard as you can, because this guy's actually pretty sturdy. Then you want to fold these down here. Then what you want to do is that you want to kind of rotate the feet like so, like this. And then, oh, I think I messed that up. I'm not gonna lie, but we'll deal with these later. Just want to, until my memory comes back. But what I know, what you have to do, so when you detach this, kind of fold that in, and then you want to use the hinge joint of the chest plate and kind of lock that into place there. Then you want to fold in like this, rotate the feet, lock that in, and then this is where it gets really stupid. I'm just going to pull down the camera here. This is where it kind of gets a little bit stupid. These little tabs here are going to go into those slots, like so. Kind of squeeze it in. Then you want to fold these down here, like so. And you kind of want to do this right, because you kind of want to bend the forearm into kind of like an L shape there, like that. And then this piece here is going to kind of slide into there, so you know what if you're doing it right, like so. Kind of like that. Then do it like this again. And then kind of fold this down in here. And then this peg on the fusion cannon is going to plug into there. So do that. Then make sure that tab in the back is plugged into that slot so everything locks into place. And here you are with Megatron in his tank mode. Now, this is not a bad tank mode per se. Oh, I forgot that you need to pull these down because sometimes they lock back into place. Like so. So, tank mode doesn't look that bad. I'm actually kind of happy with how Hasbro decided to do this one. The detail on this is pretty good. I really do kind of like the Cybertronian tank look. I really do like that. The detail and everything like that. But what I don't like is when you flip it over, dear God, why is his head visible? If you flip this up, it's just kind of having just a giant gap here, and the head is still visible here. I mean, if you fold the fusion cannon down, you can't really notice the hole, but you can still see the light shining through the hole, and then when you flip it over to see what kind of sun is coming through the crevice of the tank, and then you realize that it's not a sun, it's a freaking black hole that's staring you right in the face, because goddamn, this is just a terrible I don't know what the hell happened here. This is giving me like some actual like Revenge of the Fallen Megatron tank where he had his head peering out from the front of his tank mode. This is giving me flashbacks to that all over again, and I hate it. And also what's worse is that The tank, thankfully, is levitated enough that the head won't scratch, like rub against the ground, so that the paint won't rub off his head. So I'm glad that they decided to, you know, kind of keep that in mind, because if it didn't keep that in mind, then I would have actually legitimately cried. And you can see the Decepticon logo there. But just look-wise, I'm just not the biggest fan of it. And that's mostly because they mostly kind of had to deal with, you know, the triple changing aspect of it. And we'll get to the jet mode in a little bit, but this is just not a, you know, what I wanted the tank mode to be. It's still a cool looking tank mode nonetheless, but it could have been a lot better if they mostly just focused on him just changing into a tank instead of just being a triple changer. And that's kind of the main fault of this figure, is that the robot mode is awesome, the articulation is fantastic, the detail is exquisite, but the other two modes that they're just kind of, you know, not really, you know, kind of cool. I mean, they're cool looking, they're just not cool enough per se. They just could have been a lot better. But thankfully there's actual turret articulation, so I'm kind of glad with that. So the turret can rotate 360 degrees here, and the fusion cannon, not the actual kind of main segment here where it rotates, only the fusion cannon itself can actually move up and down because it's plugged into the hands here. So the turret can actually move, you know, up and down, and that's pretty much it. No rolling wheels, unfortunately. There could have been wheels on the bottom here for, you know, the price range, but I'm not really complaining all that much about, you know, the rolling wheels, so to speak. But yeah, the tank mode is not the greatest, but it's definitely better than the jet mode. So speaking of jet mode, let's actually transform this guy into the jet mode. So I'm also gonna have to cut this bit so I can look up a tutorial, because the jet mode is actually the most complicated transformation, believe it or not. So let's get this guy into jet mode. Sorry. So what you want to do is that you want to fold these little hinge joint pieces here. Then you want to take the bottom, which is going to be the cockpit of the jet, and you want to unfold that. Then what you want to do is that you want to take the head here and kind of flip it like this. Then what you want to do is rotate the head very gently, because the head will rub against these bits here, and you don't want to rub off the paint at all. And kind of using the really stiff ball joint. Jesus Christ, that's really stiff. Kind of, there we go. Whew. Then what you want to do is kind of use that as well. Flip that in there. And then fold these back here. And then kind of take these pieces apart and rotate that around. And then unplug the arms, like so. Kind of leave it like this, honestly. You kind of want to leave it like this. And then you want to kind of configure it back to its original fusion cannon thing. Then rotate it, like so. Then what you want to do is you want to fold down the head here, so everything kind of folds in. Then you want to use this. This piece right here is going to fold in right in here. So you kind of want to use everything. Basically, you want to move the hands out of the way, kind of fold that hinge joint piece there until everything snaps into place, like so. That is not how you do it. That is not how you're supposed to do it. You want to use hinge joint, and then, nope. There we go. That's how you do it. There we go. Flip around here to the side skirts here. You want to, well, not the side skirts, but the front skirts here. Move that. And then you want to fold these back here. And then you want to put the hips back to where they came from. And then you're going to hear that snap again. Like so. And then you can just collapse the things like this again. Then coming back here, this is where it gets kind of complicated. You want to fold out the wings here. Like so. Make sure that they're folded like that. And then this is where it gets really, really stupid. But you want to detach the tank tread here. Then what you want to do is that you want to flip this around like so. And then this piece, this tab right here is going to fit into that slot like so. And then this, the foot, this tab is going to go into the front of the foot right here, kind of like so. and sometimes it doesn't really like to go in all that well. Then you want to take the shoulder guard here. This really doesn't like to go in sometimes, so you really kind of have to push it in like so. That's kind of like the best you're going to get it. Then do the exact same thing on the other side. Flip that like so. Lock that sucker into place. Kind of move this stuff around here so it doesn't get tangled in. Like so. Plug it in. There we go. Use the foot. Plug it in. This foot seems fine. This foot's fine. Use it like this. Now, sometimes the hips kind of go back, kind of come out. Oops. Then, kind of want to, oh God, buffering time. But what you kind of want to do here is you kind of want to fold everything like this, and then you kind of want to rotate the fusion cannon like so. So it kind of goes like this. It's really stupid. You kind of want to use every single joint that you have here just to get it like this. Jesus Christ. This is really stupid. I forgot you also kind of want to, never mind. We'll deal with that later. God damn. You know, we'll deal with it now, honestly. So you kind of want to rotate these things to the front here. I should have done that. Fold out these bits here. I don't know why I was stuck there for a second. So you want to kind of use this gray piece here as kind of like your guide for certain stuff. So you kind of want to use the thigh swivel as kind of your guideline for that. Kind of get that into place. Then what you want to do is basically there is a tab here. So, okay, so tab here and slot there. Slide that in. And then kind of do the exact where did that piece go? Kind of like so as well. I want to make sure that make sure everything lines up perfectly like so. Okay. It's a little bit stupid. And it is really, really stupid sometimes, but stupid stuff is kind of the price you're going to have to pay for this, honestly. Okay. Kind of use that again. Plug that in. Ignore the dogs. Just imagine that is smoothing lo-fi chill beats. Fold those down. And yeah, you're basically kind of left with this. Here's Megatron in his jet mode. This is probably not, you know, the full kind of scale, but it's definitely close to the instructions and how he's supposed to look. I kind of messed up on the arms here, but you're basically getting the kind of the exact same kind of thing, even if this arm is kind of more inward. This is basically how he looks like in regular jet mode. Everything here is supposed to be, oh, you know why it's not doing that? Because I'm stupid. It didn't put it in like this, because I'm a little dumb. It's supposed to get more clear, like so. That's why it wasn't going fully in, because I'm just stupid like that. Oh God, yeah. Where's that joint? There we go. There we go. Kind of use that as your basis. Okay, so basically the exact same thing that I did before, but just kind of, yeah. Anyway, this is basically Megatron in his jet mode, and I am not the biggest fan. I'm a fan of the design. I think the design is cool, where he's got like the 3 spikes and everything like that, and I love the fact that the amazing idea to hide the booster rockets in, like, you know, kind of in the tread of the tank mode, which I really think is cool. And also kind of like the back of the fusion cannon is actually another hidden thruster, so I think that's really, really cool. But it's just a kind of, it's just a flying pancake at this point. There's nothing really interesting to say about it. The design is cool. The amount of detail on this thing is actually really, really awesome. I really do like the detail that they included on this mode here. But just how it looks, especially with the arms here. Basically, there's no other way to, there's a way to get these closer in, but they just kind of look like, you know, more square than anything, and you still got this kind of big open gap where the fusion cannon just kind of sits in the middle there. And there is a tab on the bottom of the fusion cannon where it's supposed to tab into that slot there. But even if you want to tab it in, it just kind of sits there and it doesn't really do anything. So that's kind of useless. And I guess the cockpit is cool. It's basically, I'm just talking details, honestly. I'm just not a fan of this jet mode, honestly. I think that this kind of feels like they're like, yeah, we need this guy to be a triple changer, but since we have no other way of knowing what he would be like in the movie, we're just gonna have to improvise and just kind of make this guy into a flying pancake that's just a jumbled mess of parts. That's basically what they were thinking, and I'm very disappointed in that. They could have honestly scrapped this mode and just mostly focused on the tank mode to make it more better and fill out the, kind of the whole hollowness of the tank mode, and fill in, the head being, just right there. Speaking of the head is actually covered this time underneath there, but you can still see his head, but it's a lot better than the tank mode where it's not just, if you flip it under, you can just see his bulging eyes. But yeah, just not a fan of this jet mode, and it just feels like an afterthought. And Megatron being a triple changer sounds like a really cool idea, but leave the triple changing, to Blitzwing, because he actually does it better, because, Megatron being the leader of the Decepticons, there's some stuff that he's not good at, and being a triple changer is one of them, unfortunately. And I just don't really like the kind of weirdness of it, especially the bottom part here. The top part doesn't look that bad. I actually don't think the top part is actually too terrible. But everything else, just, the bottom here where the fusion cannon, it's on a really weird angle, and that's not just from me mistransforming this guy. It's just actually how it's supposed to look. It's just, and the fusion cannon's on tab, so that's awesome. Yeah, it's just a really weird thing. Looks like he's about to drop a bomb, and maybe that's their intention, but it's still supposed to be a cannon on the back. So, other than that, it's just a, the design's cool. The detail is awesome. That you kind of get the detail, but everything else is just, how to get here is just not my favorite, honestly. So, I'm kind of sad that this guy costs quite a bit of money, especially if you're buying from eBay and you get this. It's just, I don't really think it's worth the money, honestly. If it was the tank mode and the robot mode, I would highly recommend picking this guy up, but unfortunately, you're just gonna have to deal with, the jet mode here, which is kind of an afterthought, honestly, which I don't really like. But other than that, I really do like this figure, despite my complaints about, the alternate modes and just kind of being, kind of a complicated mess to get to and everything like that. And I have to resort to video tutorials to actually transform this guy because the booklet is such ass. But, I still think that this is a good figure to pick up, especially for the robot mode. The articulation's fantastic. The design is awesome. Really, really do like it, but I would just not transform this guy into tank mode, honestly. I basically had to transform this guy so you don't have to. So mostly just pick this guy up for the robot mode, honestly. I think that's highly worth your money. But I'm going to have to weigh the figure on all three modes, and only the robot mode is actually the mode that I actually care about. The tank mode and the jet mode are just not my favorite modes. They look cool, but they just don't really work cohesively with one another, and it's just kind of sad. But that's going to do it for me, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't care what you do because only time it is. So, bye, guys.